Hello everyone, I'm Josh Garrett, and in this video I'm going to be talking about World War One. World War One started because of a conflict between Austria-Hungary and Serbia. What happened was that a Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip, assassinated the heir to the throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Austria-Hungary immediately pounced on the opportunity to create war. Basically, the relationships between countries in Europe were pretty tense, and because of that, a war was bound to happen. But the spark was set by Austria-Hungary and Serbia. Austria-Hungary knew that in the war, Serbia would be aided by Russia, and so they had to get an ally of their own, and a very powerful one at that too. So they asked Germany for help, and they agreed. And so Austria-Hungary sent an ultimatum to Serbia consisting of impossible demands, which obviously Serbia refused. And because of that, Austria-Hungary declared war. Now basically what was happening is that Austria-Hungary is friends with Germany. Meanwhile, Serbia is friends with Russia, and Russia is friends with France, which is trouble for Germany because Germany might have to fight the plan on two fronts, one on France and one on Russia. And so Germany quickly developed the Schlieffen plan. What this plan was is that they're going to go and get a quick victory at France, sort of maiming them, and then mobilizing all of their troops to Russia and earning a victory there. And this plan was thought to work, especially as the troops of Russia would take longer to mobilize as there's so many of them. Anyway, the Germans put the Schlieffen plan into action. But the French had a line of defenses on the border of Germany, so the Germans decided to invade through Belgium. Now British were furious as Belgium was confirmed neutrality, and so they too declared war on Germany. The British, the French, the Russians, Serbia, all of them will be known as the Allies, and the opposing team of countries will be known as the Central Powers. Germans pounded through Belgium, and then the first clash between the Allies and Germany happened at the First Battle of Mons. Here, the British and the French took a stand against the Germans, and so they had to retreat. Then, the Allies launched a counterattack against the Germans, but the Germans dug into defensive positions and making trenches. So the British and the French did the same, and that was the start of a new type of warfare, a battle of attrition called trench warfare. The Allies and Germany's clashed together until they were at north near the seas, and there most of the battle happened at the Western Front. Now back to the Eastern Front, where Russia was there. Russia had already mobilized their troops, which surprised the Germans as it was pretty quick than they expected. And now, since they had all their troops focused on the Western Front, they asked Austria-Hungary to take care of them. But Austria-Hungary failed at that. So they asked Austria-Hungary to take care of Russia. But they lost. So the Germans deployed some of their troops to Austria-Hungary to aid them. And good news for Germany, the troops of the Germans near the Russian borders holding up very well. By this time, the Ottoman Empire also joined the war, this time joining the Central Powers. The Ottomans first launched an attack to Russia at the Caucasus mountain, but that failed because the soldiers weren't ready for that much cold. Then they tried to take the Suez Canal from the British, which also failed. But one victory the Ottomans did have was that they successfully repelled the British from one of their ports. Because of this, the British troops near that port had to be evacuated. And that was probably the most well-executed plan in World War One. Soon after Italy joined the war, there was not much to say about that, just another ally for the Allies. But then, two of the most bloodiest battles of World War One happened. First, the Battle of Verdun, where Germans launched an attack at Verdun and the French held it desperately. Now, the French were in trouble, so they asked the British for help and asked them to create a sort of diversion or a distraction, which they did. They created their own bloody battle, the Battle of Somme. Both of these had the most casualties and probably the most bloodiest of World War One. Around this time, the first naval battle happened at Jutland. Germany was pretty strong in the naval force, and so were the British. So it was probably an equal match, just that the British had more naval boats. These naval boats were called dreadnoughts, and after the Battle of Jutland, they did not try to use it again, as they were super expensive to construct and that would be a loss at a huge scale. Now, with all of these battles going on, surely one of these countries would have fallen down. And one of them did, Russia. During all of this, Russia had been having a sort of war inside itself as well, the Russian Revolution. And so the Tsars were overthrown and a new government took power. But they were also overthrown and Bolsheviks, who were basically communists, took over. And the Bolsheviks took out Russia from the war, signing an armistice with Germany. This was pretty good news for Germany, as all the troops which had been captured by Russia were being supplied back, which was part of the agreement in armistice. But there was also another bad news for Germany. While all of this were happening, they had their U-boats, submarines which can launch missiles for long ranges. And one of these, or actually many of these, took down a lot of American ships. And because of that, America was furious, and so they declared war on Germany. America before had been supplying firearms and guns and etc. to the Allies, and so they were becoming richer and richer. So with the new fresh ally for the Allies, with a new fresh enemy against them, it was very bad news for Germany. So they tried to give it all they had. They kept on attacking with mighty force, and the Allies couldn't repel that. But once they started doing it again and again, their supplies ran out. And more they did it, the more the Allies learned how to repel it. And so, once the American troops arrived, Germany was finished for. And after that, a lot of countries in the Central Powers fell, and Germany signed an armistice with their allies, and also they signed the Treaty of Versailles. Basically, the Treaty of Versailles commanded Germany to take the guilt of starting this war, and then they had to pay a huge fee to the Allies, and much, much more. The Treaty of Versailles was hated by the Germans, but no one would have hated it more than Adolf Hitler, who was the cause of the Second World War. But that's for another video, so subscribe, like, and comment if you have any suggestions. And see you in the next video. Bye.